Well, hey everyone, welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast.
You are watching the Beyond Sunday podcast.
Well, welcome everyone. I have with me Michaela. She is a senior at Circle High School, and she is also a youth leader in the Christ Church youth group. And so we're going to be talking today about stress. We talked about it being an epidemic that something that we're just seeing quite a bit in teenagers today, and really almost like everywhere that I'm turning, I'm hearing of students and high schoolers particularly dealing with large amounts of anxiety. Matter of fact, the other day I read something, and it said that they found 4 and 5 year olds are dealing with a certain level of stress and anxiety. Yep. 4 and 5 years old. So there's some crazy things that are going on right now. We're seeing high schoolers dealing heavily with it. And I think there's a few things that are triggering this stress in teenagers. And I think one of those is just a lack of time. I feel like student schedules are seriously just jam-packed from the time that they wake up to the time that they go to bed. I mean, there's absolutely no gap time. They're living a schedule like their parents. Yeah. Like that's the only way I know how to really to say it. I mean, it's just a high intense schedule, and I believe that a lot of times the stress is coming from, and this is they're completely out of steam. Like you've got nothing left. I mean, absolutely nothing left. And I know we've talked before. You've had to deal with that, like trying to figure out your scheduling on time. Can you kind of maybe speak into like how have you tried to help to navigate that? Because stress comes whenever you're just tired.
Yeah.
And how have you navigated that?
Well, still navigating that.
Right. And again, like we're saying, we all are.
Yeah.
And I just got finished telling you, I'm doing the same thing. But
yeah, I think mainly for me, because I just from 4:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, just go, whether it's getting up to work out and then go to college and I go to high school and then I go to work and then I go home and do homework and then, bedtime. And so lately I've just been implementing, the Sabbath day and making sure that I have a whole day of rest. And usually that's my Sunday, which, I'll come to church and everything. But, I'm actually like receiving and not, giving out all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so just making sure that, I have a Sabbath day and, I'll ask off of work a few times a week and just, making sure that I have a few times a week where I'm not doing anything to just kind of like recuperate and recharge my battery.
Right, absolutely. And it's odd, I think, at times for people to say, like, make a comment like you said, like not to do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like something you should do.
Yeah, it feels wrong. It's like, I should be doing homework. Like, why am I sitting here doing nothing? But,
yes.
It's no better for my brain if I do my homework and I'm really not, like, paying attention and I'm not attentive to what I'm doing, then why do I even do my homework anyway?
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
a waste of my time, so
absolutely.
just watch Netflix.
Do you see your
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Do you see your are you seeing your peers dealing with the same thing? I mean, now I'm an adult and I'm speaking into what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But are you seeing the same thing at your school?
Yeah, and for me, I'm an oddball-ish. I work, but most people at my school do sports, and so sometimes people will do multiple sports at once, and they've got their sports and then they've got their sibling sports that they have to go watch and family events. And so it's just like, if you have any free time, that's time I can put something else in place. And so then, it also takes away from, your relationships with your friends, because I've had to cut back on things so that I can spend time with, my family and my friends, because a lot of times I was like, sorry, I'm working. Sorry, I'm at school. Sorry, I have homework. And I was like, I'm really lonely right now. I need to, take some time off to spend with my friends.
Right, absolutely. I think there's some certain ways that I think we need to react when we're getting into that. Especially when we're feeling stress and a lot of times I think we know that it's our schedule. It's just we're so used to that. I think one of the first things I think we have to do is cut start cutting things out of our schedule.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say cutting things out, cutting unnecessary things out. So you can't go home and say, I told your parents that you can stop going to school because you got to go, you know,
Well,
I mean,
and
you
it
can't
has
cut
to
that
be,
out.
you know, like an order of priority. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
church comes first, you know, school obviously comes 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I guess church and then relationships, you know, with my family and then school and then work. So clearly work's the thing I need to cut out.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you know.
Yeah, me and you had to talk about that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, well, so there's something that you did that was probably very difficult. But you talked about sports,
Yeah.
and sports is a huge thing, and people are especially as a senior. I can remember when I was in school, I asked myself, I was like, so am I going to get to play college ball? No, so I stopped. But so that's something I cut out of my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But you, on the other hand, this is a couple of years back, you decided actually to stop doing sports for just ministry things. I mean, you knew that you wanted to be a youth leader.
Yeah.
And so you wanted to dig into that, and you knew that you couldn't handle both of them.
Yeah.
And you actually stopped stopped volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a difficult move? I mean, was it hard? I mean, I know it probably wasn't easy, but,
Yeah.
Was that real difficult to try to make or?
I love the game, obviously. Like, volleyball was, you know, the one sport that I found that I was actually like happy with doing, because physical contact sports for me are just not good. I just don't
And
like
not
people
running?
touching me. And so I finally, you know, found a game where I was like, this is like my jam. And so my sophomore year, I got hurt really bad. And so I was out most of the season. And I went back to playing, but, you know, I hurt my back. And so I was just like, you know, I knew I wasn't going to play in college. And even if I got offers, I knew I didn't want to, because I want my studying and, you know, my grades are more important than sports to me. And so I also was getting more involved in youth, and I just had to make like the hard decision. I was like, you know, it's going to suck for a while because, you know, all my friends are playing, but I mean, after a while it got better, and, you know, I'll still go watch them and I'll be like, dang it, if I could just put on a uniform and just go play, I could help them out. Like, let's go. But, you know, I've played a few times just like leisurely, but I still have, you know, back pains and everything. And so it was God's, you know, motion for me to get into
absolutely.
ministry.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it at all. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I was talking about notching out that schedule. Like, what do you have in your schedule that's not necessary, that you have in there that's causing you extra stress? I think also too, saying no to people. Sometimes, you know, I used to not like that. It used to really bother me. I didn't want to say no. I always wanted to say yes. If people get upset because I said no, but I need rest, I'm sorry. There's not really much I can do. I can't do anybody any good if I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, so I think notching that out. I think the next thing that we got to talk about is having a rest day. And you spoke about that, about having a rest day, having a day in your week where we said you're not going to do anything.
Nothing.
Yes, nothing at all. And it took me a while to do that. And it took a while for my family to really kind of understand like what we're doing and the why behind we're going to rest, you know. And then sometimes when I'm exhausted, literally there's a day in the week that I probably just do a lot of sleeping. It feels very lazy, but it's something that we're called to do. As I'm going to talk a little bit after this, but I know you have a day during the week. How do you protect that? Because I know whenever I have a day that I'm like, there's a Sabbath and I'm trying to keep that Sabbath, it seems like everybody wants to schedule something with me on that day.
Yeah. Well, and it's because, you know, the rest of the week you're so packed with your days. And so then you're like, people are like, oh, well, you know, people don't do stuff on Saturday. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. So what other day do you want to do it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just picked a day, and, you know, I've experimented with it. And, you know, I've done weeks where I don't have a rest day and I get irritated and my emotions are all over the place. And then I've done weeks where, you know, I've implemented the Sabbath and it's like a whole new person. It's just like I have a day where it's just me and I'm chilling, whether that's, you know, spending time with my family or going to watch family members play games, or it's just something. It's a day where I'm not doing school, I'm not working. Like it's doing things that I enjoy to do, and, you know, sleeping in and not getting up to work out, like just giving my my body a whole day to rest, and it's like it changes
Yeah,
my whole
absolutely.
week. It gives me it's like a reset to my battery, and I'm just a happy person
Yeah,
again.
absolutely. I think you said a lot when you said that. You know, as believers in Christ, we see in Genesis that in the very beginning we see God takes a rest.
Yeah.
And it's
God
not
takes a rest.
Yeah,
You should probably take
exactly.
one too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not because God had to rest, but it's obvious that He's doing what a great leader does, and it's showing us, hey, if it's important enough for me, I want you to do that.
Yeah.
He took some time, not necessarily to recharge his battery, but what I like is he didn't need to do that. We got to recharge our batteries.
Yeah.
Our body can't stand the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We just can't do it. We start to break down. But what I like is that he sat back and he really just enjoyed what he had done. And I think that's one of the things that we just got to do. We got to just rest, relax, enjoy the blessings that God has given us.
Yeah.
I mean, have fun. I mean, enjoy that. If we work all the time, we don't even get to sit and relax, enjoy the blessings that God has given us. So it's really about looking at your schedule, going like, what can I cut out of my schedule instead of just having it so packed, and then picking out a day, and I mean guard it with your life. Like, I'm guarding this, and unless, and it doesn't have to be the same day every single time. I think it can move. I mean, it doesn't have to be just the same day every time, but move, but guard and have a day that you have a rest time. And so, well, that'll be all for us today, and thank you for joining us.
This has been another episode of the Beyond Sunday podcast. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.